Styxhexenhammer. Or Styxhexenhammer, I guess. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't follow this dude's content that much. Everything I have ever seen of this person leads me to believe that they are a desperately cringy, incredibly unintelligent loser. You remember Razor Fist? Remember how Razor Fist would casually misunderstand and misstate every single thing he said, but he talked fast and he had a leather jacket and a sense of style that, let's be real, was never appropriate, but would have been more appropriate 30 years ago? Yeah, it's like Razor Fist, but like lamer, basically. I only know two things from this guy. That he complains about cultural Marxism a lot, and that he was a Holocaust denier like 6 years ago. I don't know if he still does Holocaust denial. He's usually shirtless. Well, I'm glad we happened upon this video then. I watched like 2 Patriot Act videos. My whole fucking... I guess it was like 3 or 4. I was playing Hat in Time. He's also a Nazi. I do think Styxhexenhammer might be too stupid to have a coherent or consistent set of principles. Because I've seen some stuff that he's done. He went on Red Ice TV. He's talked with Richard Spencer. He said that he wants to lean more into the far right. But, you know, I've also heard him say that he staunchly supports like women's equality and gay rights or something. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's possible to be incoherently fascist. That is totally possible. If anyone, there's an excellent video on this, and this was the first time I ever heard of Styxhexenhammer, by the way, was through Destiny. Hold on. Okay. This video right here, I'm not going to repeat all of its tenets, but it was a video Destiny did in one of Styx's video, an old one, the Holocaust denial one. And it was a really interesting video because Destiny was explaining, and this is back when Destiny was good, Destiny was explaining how some of the conclusions that Styx arrived at could only really be arrived at if you came into the discussion with certain biases. Who's this little dude in front of the planter? I don't know who this little dude is. Who's this little dude over here on the right, above my camera? I kind of like them. They seem nice. They're giving me the finger, 2 fingers actually. But I still like them. I think they're cute. It's him? Okay, I mean, I like the little figure. Little baby Styx. Let's find out. SJW cannibalism is climate change, quote-unquote, movement declared, quote-unquote, too white.
All right, everyone, there was a very cringy and funny article the other day from Vice. Okay, that's redundant. It's a Vice article about...
I'm going to say this exactly once. How do you have 400,000 subscribers on YouTube and have a microphone like this? Holy shit. Jesus Christ, put a fucking noise dampener on.
I guess there was this, person of color, which is kind of a bigoted term when you really think about what it really means, but that's the one that the woke people use now.
We got that woke terminology again. People of color isn't a racist term in any way, shape, or form. People of color is broadly adopted after its use in academia, and it was used in academia mainly to distinguish against like hegemonic whiteness. The idea being essentially that in Western or white culture, here in America at the very least, when it comes to your sort of broader racial predilections, the way you're treated, you are either white or not. That there is a distinction between those groups. Whiteness is inherently exclusionary. Blackness is inherently inclusionary. Think about it. Obama was black, but in actuality, he was half white. Why is that? Well, that's because, a drop of black blood makes you one of them. But whiteness is something you have to be allowed into. It's to distinguish fundamentally between those broader social blocks, but it's not a racist term, not in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to respond to this in really good faith. It's been a while since I've done that, and I feel like I'm going to catch this guy on like 18 stupid things a minute.
It's hilarious. But who left, I guess, the climate movement, insofar as that bullshit exists, because it's too white. I guess the idea is, Greta Thunberg is white, and these activists, a lot of them, they're white trust funders from like college towns and stuff.
That's really interesting. You know what I love doing? Before I go over these videos, I love looking at the article they're referring to, which I read. You're welcome. And it has nothing to do with what he's talking about. Leaving because Greta Thunberg is white and because white people do climate change activism. We'll go over it more, I'm sure, as it becomes prescient.
That is true. That's where that tends to promulgate. And so they decided to leave the movement. I'm thinking to myself how fucking wacky this is. First and foremost, yes, the climate movement, again, so-called, is overwhelmingly white. That's because the sort of campaigns to raise so-called awareness of the issue target the college towns. They target the sort of people who dwell on fear.
Okay, so first of all, conservatives are objectively found to have a much stronger fear response than progressive people. This is a fact. This is known in psychiatric research. Conservatives respond to fear all the time. That is why all conservative media is dedicated to telling them that they are under attack by a minority group and they need to respond with wildly disproportionate force to defend themselves. We had a literal decade media cycle on the war against Christmas, okay? Fear is in the conservative bloodline. But I will also say, I don't know what we mean when we say climate change movement. There are like a million climate change movements. There's not one. That would be like saying like the anti-racist movement or the pro-poor movement. It's meaningless. Now there are some aspects of climate change movements that target the college kids, of course, but college kids have always been on the forefront of activism. Like always. That's always been the case. For what else? Because college kids love fucking activism. You know, they're very busybody, and that's a good thing. But there are climate change movements in non-white countries. There are climate change movements that target, largely poor communities. One of the most active climate change activists or activist groups is Aborigine. It's Native American in this country. The Keystone Pipeline was the forefront for a while of climate change discussion, and this was being led and eventually lost by non-white figureheads. And the reason why they were put in a position of prominence there is because of certain contentions that are brought up in the article that I know Styx didn't read.
And so it simply makes sense to do that. They don't so much go into the middle of Flint and start their activistic meetings. They go to
What does this mean, activistic what does he think the climate change movement is?
Places where they can get a college campus to host them and stuff like that. And a lot of them are lily white college towns or the suburban communities that tend to be disproportionately white and Asian. This is what they do. It's about simple demographics of targeting. However,
does he think that like there's a centralized climate activist committee that specifically targets neighborhoods based on the ethnicity of the denizens of that? I don't know what he's going on for here. If there is any disproportionate support of climate change activism from white people, it's probably because people who are well off, which white people have much higher average, household wealth than black families or Latino families, are more likely to be able to care about activism. But that's the case for all forms of activism.
Here's what I'm not understanding. If you believe that the world is ending, like Greta thinks or something, if you believe that within the next 10 years the surface of this planet is going to be Tatooine or flooded and it's going to be...
Nobody believes this. This is the classic climate change denier strawmanning the position of academic academic consensus.
Aqua World or something.
If
you believe that it's really going to be that catastrophic, like I would be almost underwater right now and this community would begin to look a little bit like Venice, I suppose.
Again, you can tell if somebody's bad faith, and Styx is very, very bad faith. If somebody's bad faith, you can tell because they dramatically strawman the position of their opposition any chance that they get. So what climate change, scientists, are, the people who actually have the data on this are saying is that, 10 years down the line, we might reach a point of no return where there will be no way to undo some of the damage to the planet before it does damage to us, very bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's all very complicated, but the data is pretty consistent, at this point, and I was about to say this, denying climate change makes you a wild conspiracy theorist. but Styx is a wild conspiracy theorist. I mean, I found out about this guy from Holocaust denial, so I don't know how scrutinous he is when it comes to the things he believes.
Suppose. Don't you think that it's time to get past the wokeness bullshit of caring about identity, wedge issue sort of politics?
What? What the fuck does that mean?
Apparently not. Apparently that's definitely the ultimate goal. I guess the idea is that they need to have affirmative action for climate change, leadership, activism, or
what the fuck are we talking about? What is
something? And it's like the people who show up.
He's not even competent enough to put his position forward. The argument that he's trying to make and failing is that the article that he has not read, but that this video is about, is an indication that climate change activists care more about woke, anti-white, cultural Marxist progressivism than they do about saving the planet. And that is why but that's the thing. He hasn't said what the article is about. He hasn't said this is an article about people, about a mass movement away from climate change activism because there are white people. He hasn't even established the premise that he is trying to lead his audience towards.
To lead, who have the acumen to do so, who have the speaking skills mainly because it's all about money for the most part.
Which is funny considering that all of the big anti-climate change scientists are figureheads propped up by big coal and oil. Another conspiracy theory, by the way, for people, they say this all the time, by the way. Oh yeah, all of the scientists in the world simultaneously agreeing that the world is going to fucking melt if we don't do something? Who's paying them? Nobody! Science is not historically well funded, my friend, but the people that, like, say, for example, PragerU are going to prop up, or the lobbying groups that are paid for by oil and gas companies that inform Republican policy making. These are where influences really come in. And it shows, by the way, the underlying bias. This is Styx over here. He's supposed to be like the big populist, like conspiracy down with the man type. And he's claiming that independent scientific organizations from all over the world with no shared financial interest, with no broad, incentivization to do anything other than report the truth, are saying that climate change is real. And a very small minority of people with incredibly close ties to the oil and gas companies say that it's not real. And he's very, very, very skeptical of the biases in the first group, but doesn't seem interested in the biases in the second group.
Are going to be the ones leading things. If you've ever experienced college bureaucracy, let me tell you, for those of you, and most of you probably have been to college or trade school or whatever anyway, so I'm speaking to the choir. If you've gone into the more academic and philosophical side of the college situation, isn't it a lot of empty buzz terms, a lot of feel-good, hippie-trippy goddamn nonsense? It's like when I was at UVM.
See, This is making a point without making a point right here. I've been to college. All of the language used in my classes, in my spaces, were highly targeted and academic. They seem nonsense to you either because you lack the education to understand them, again, if you didn't go to college, and that's fine if you didn't go to college. I mean, those are college words. Or B, if you're deliberately misrepresenting these terms and making them seem incongruent and incomprehensible, because for them to make sense is to defeat your own argument. This is just anti-intellectualism. This is very Trumpy, you've all been to college, right? Have you been to college? What are they even talking about in college? They just use words. They just say words. It's all buzzwords. He can't list any of these specific words, I bet you. But, all of his dumb fuck 40 IQ audience is tapping their head going, yeah, really dumb words. I agree. College dumb.
They've got all of their soy milk and their...
Why is it that every person obsessed with soy looks like this? The Styx, him of all people, this guy is gonna do this shit. I am lactating looking at this guy. My body is producing estrogen just looking at this skull shape. I can feel testosterone puddling in my toes. and callousing. Like, from this person of all people. Okay,
There's
whatever.
sustainable napkin bullshit, and here's our special of the day is fried tofu and the
This has nothing to do with the broader point.
vegan options and stuff, but it's catered by Sodexo. It's catered by a group that also caters prisons. Literally, for-profit prison industry is tied to the college food industry.
Yeah, and as you know, college students have a whole lot of say in which gigantic corporations manage their cafeteria lines. You know, the woke college students are absolutely the ones making those decisions, and not like corporate managers and people on the board of trustees who are more interested in making money than they are pushing for any particular social agenda. Hey, remember what I said 15 minutes ago before we started this fucking video? People insincerely complaining about corporations who are themselves insincerely doing progressive things is not the same as complaining against progressive things. If you say, college students care about the environment, but also a multi-billion-dollar company serves them meals, but also serves prisoner meals, you have not argued against the progressivism, my friend. You have not found a hypocrisy in the mind of the progressive. You have found a hypocrisy in the mind of the people who play to progressive ideals while still doing corporatist bullshit. And if you have a problem with those people, I mean, hey, me too.
The workers get underpaid. They go on strike all the time. The janitors get underpaid. The food workers, a lot of them are migrant labor. You have a situation where a bunch of lily-white trust funder West Coast kids come in to Vermont, go to UVM, they think they're saving the world or something, and they have their Save the Boobies t-shirts.
Hey, me too. Yeah, me too, buddy.
And their pink hats and stuff like that, and yet they're eating prison slop that's catered to them by underpaid migrant workers.
Yeah, wait, what is this is, for one, this has literally nothing to do with the broader point. For two, what does this have to do with the students? What the fuck are they supposed to do? Not eat? Are you only a valid progressive if you get all of your food from like locally sourced $8 a chocolate bar? You know, like farms that are staffed by Americans exclusively? This is not a point. This is something anti-intellectuals will do to try and vaguely drum up a feeling of hypocrisy in the minds of the audience, not committing to actually making a point, because to make a point is to open yourself to a counter-argument, which Styx would get fucking annihilated by.
On a campus that they ramble about how renewable it is, but it's still made of Chinese components.
What is the point?
That were in part made by sweatshops, and they think that this is
no ethical consumption under capitalism.
Is activism. This is the empty.
Wait, and they think what?
Were in part made by sweatshops, and they think that this is activism.
Wait, what the fuck are you talking about? They're just going to a college that has unethically sourced goods. Nobody thinks that's activism. Do you think they think it's activism to just go to the college? Like a college student will go to UCLA and eat at the cafeteria, and while eating at the cafeteria, they'll be like, yeah, this is activism. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Again, no specific point, just incoherent babbling to conjure an image in the mind of the audience.
This is the empty hollowness of college activism.
No, it's the empty hollowness of corporate progressivism, where you claim to be good, but then actually are bad. What the fuck is a college student supposed to do? This has literally nothing to do with the college students. Unless you believe you can only be a progressive activist if you sleep in the woods and only ethically source everything you consume and wear.
And really of gated community, often overwhelmingly white activism. I'm not surprised, therefore, that a person would look askance to
gated community in a college? What the fuck are we talking about?
This and say this is bullshit. But you're seeing the wrong bullshit. You're seeing the demographic side of that bullshit. But the reason why the demographic side is lopsided is because those are the communities with the money. Those suburban and small town college communities have academically speaking, and in the political activistic sense, disproportionately have wealth. And no, I'm not talking about white privilege. This is...
You are literally talking about what... Nice one there. To make your point, you have to point out that white people have more general income in this country, but your audience is full of fucking hyper-fragile man babies. So you gotta make sure... I'm not talking about white privilege, guys. You know I'm talking about a privilege that white people have. This isn't white privilege. This isn't like what the SJW say. I'm just trying to make a point. Don't worry. I'm gonna go back on any point that I'm making in 5 minutes anyway. There's no coherence here.
is all governed by the 1%ers, not by the average white person. They have disproportionately in their communities more money.
Wait, so the disproportionate wealth of white people is governed by the 1%ers, but that's not what? The fuck does that mean? Guys, don't say base. He almost certainly means Jews.
So if your entire thing, if your activism is actually just activism so-called, like the UVM activism I witnessed, which is still, hey, we've got the vegan option with our prison food.
Nobody thinks this is activism. They're just eating at the fucking cafeteria. This guy has no idea what climate activism is or looks like. I bet you that if I asked him to name one organization, if he has Google next to him, maybe he'll come up with some good answers. But out in the streets, one single question about contemporary climate activism, he wouldn't be able to come up with anything. And now he's rambling about how college student activists are hypocrites because the billion-dollar corporations that give them food at the cafeteria are unethical.
We've pulled together $10 to give the janitor that's being underpaid. Yeah, fight the power, man. Karl Marx forever. It's all bullshit. And so if you want to take advantage of people whose heads are full of bullshit propaganda...
Wait, bullshit propaganda where you give $10 to the janitor and then declare the communist revolution begun? This is what I mean when I say this person is so stupid, I don't even know. It's the Sargon effect, too. I don't actually know what points they're trying to make. I have no idea where we're at. I will say the video has gotten significantly better now for the addition of a Comrade Fluffers over there.
And you want them to give you money, or you want them to sign petitions so you can get a corporation to pay you blood money by getting Coca-Cola to pony up money because it looks good for its brand. Oh, we're proud sponsors of the climate change activism front. Ha ha ha. Yes.
Damn, you have a problem with corporations insincerely demonstrating progressiveness while actually being fucking horrible? I've got an ideology for you. Remember, guys, this is every fucking video now. Look at the cat. Oh, the cat's looking. Oh, the cat's looking. The cat's peeping. This is every fucking video. Finish the sentence. Hey, it's bad that corporations are insincerely catering to progressive interests by demonstrating that they're willing to, go green on climate change, but actually haven't changed anything. Wow. Guess we should make an even better effort to sincerely push for climate change activism and not let corporations, which are exclusively motivated by the profit motive, to dictate how we move forward. Damn.
We use renewable materials. Yes, we get your kids hooked on stuff that's rotting their teeth and fucking with their health and causing diabetes, and we should probably just be goddamn banned from the face of the earth. But
wait, isn't Styx a libertarian? Is he unironically advocating? Is he unironically advocating for, soda to be banned because it's unhealthy? I mean, we can have that conversation. It's just completely incompatible with the principles of libertarianism.
We paid blood money to this group of so-called activists who up until now have been thriving by bilking soccer moms into $10 a month to get their newsletter about the...
What are we... I don't actually know what we're talking about. I guess I'm just going to let him talk. I feel like we've buried the lead. The lead has been buried into, the fucking magma core of the planet. I have no idea where we're going with... this is like ADHD. I actually feel like I'm talking with, a kid or something,
Striped gibbon, and that's how the system works. It's bullshit. It's not real activism.
So the system works when the 1% makes it so white people have money who then go to gated community colleges who say they're activists because they gave $10 to a janitor, but are actually not activists because they ate cafeteria food from corporations that exploit prisoners, and then the money goes to Coca-Cola, who the blood money. Man, I don't know. Maybe this is just me being confronted with a superior intellect, This is like Goodwill Hunting. Like, you walk in and the chalkboard is just this incomprehensibly complicated mathematical equation. Maybe this is what confronting genius feels like. Being rambled at incoherently.
It's a shakedown. It's Al Sharpton style activism. But while I can understand that from the outside looking in, at least demographically, you can understand that it is bullshit. It's hollow words and slow.
Why does he keep saying demographically? That's really strange. Nothing that he's talking about right now is respective to demographics, but he keeps bringing it up. Yeah, the Al Sharpton drop as well.
Sloganeering and stupid shit like that, and a lot of fundraising. 5-to-1 fundraising to tree planting. You know, if you really care about the climate, go out your fucking self with your goddamn friends. You don't need a license to do this. Get a fucking pokey stick, clean up some trash, plant some fucking trees.
So, we were on an article about how a person left the climate change community because it was white or whatever, and now he's like, guys, just go pick up trash, don't donate. Do you think climate change is going to be fixed by picking up trash? This is some Jordan Peterson type stuff, you know? Before you can change the world, make sure your house is in order. Like, that's the feeling I'm getting from this right now. It's also stupid. Obviously, any actual grassroots climate change activism effort is going to need huge institutional support to be able to, for example, lobby or influence policy making or put pressure on massive transnational corporations. Nothing else would even come close to being effective enough. I don't know what he's going on about here, like where you have to go clean trash. I'm sure plenty of people do that too. The trash tag fad went on pretty heavy for quite a while. I saw a lot of that on Reddit. I don't know like what data he's using to come to this point. It just kind of seems like he's complaining obliquely about something he doesn't like without giving any good reasons why he doesn't like it.
Raise an organic garden in your backyard. Study how to do this. Do something with your hands. Do something that's positive.
What?
You don't need these morons to lead you. You don't need anyone to tell you how to plant a fucking tree.
What?
You can look it up on the internet and do it yourself. You don't need anyone to tell you can pick up garbage. There's garbage all over the place here. Some of these people here, some of the college kids in this fucking goddamn community too, and there's a lot less of this hypocrisy here in the Netherlands than in the US, ironically enough, despite it being more of a socialistic country.
I knew he'd be one of those types. So again, like this is the rhetoric of a simpleton, of a deeply addled person, a very soup-like brain. Because anyone with any sense knows that collective organizing is A, the most effective way to engage in activism. Individual acts of goodness just don't cut it on a global scale. And B, climate change is so severe a threat that it cannot possibly be addressed at any level through fucking individual tree planting and trash up picking. Yeah, it's very smooth-brained, very unimpressive.
There's trash everywhere. Why don't they go around and pick it up? No, they'd rather have Coca-Cola Corporation sponsor a cleanup.
This is a huge fucking straw man. Most climate change activism is grassroots. Also, if the Coca-Cola Corporation is capable of putting money towards a good cause, yeah, you should probably take advantage of that money. Again, conjuring a broad feeling of hypocrisy in the audience without actually pointing out a hypocritical set of positions.
Because there's money involved. That's what it's all about. But to go full woke and to say it's a problem of whiteness, too many white people are...
Oh, we're back on the actual subject of the video rather than just you pontificating that trying to change stuff is bullshit, man. Everyone's a phony. We're back on the proper subject?
Caring about the climate. Do you realize how fucking stupid you sound, dude?
Not as stupid as you would sound if you said the article was about quitting climate change because there were too many white people in it, when the article says nothing of the sort. That would make you look very stupid, Styx. Ooh, that would make you look just really fucking dumb. We can go over the article now. I'm not going to read the entire thing. You're free to check it out yourself. Why I Quit Being a Climate Activist. I have mixed feelings on the article. It's essentially about a non-white person saying that broader discussions of sort of global action against climate change were often being left off the table in climate change activist meetings. How, for example, broader issues like the mistreatment of Native Americans, or the way in which our trade relationships with other countries lead to economic and environmental exploitation that can't be addressed exclusively through feel-good activism, are, again, not really addressed that substantively. It's basically saying, hey, I don't think that some elements of the climate change movement are equipped to deal with the reality of climate change, in large part because it is so suffused with the hegemonic whiteness, the obfuscating lens of whiteness. It's that simple. Nothing about this is her saying, there were too many white people, I had to leave. It was about her principles of anti-colonialism were being represented in the movement. As somebody who studied quite a bit about climate change activism, I can tell you that colonialism is one of its largest proponents. So yeah, pretty simple. I don't know why you couldn't take the time to read it. It took me 4 minutes, Styx. You've got something that appear to be reading glasses on. I don't know, too many words. It was written at an 8th grade level. I don't know where that is like relative to your...
You sound like a total goddamn moron. If you really think, and I don't believe in this whatsoever. I think that natural feedback mechanisms involving snow reflecting sunlight typically are going to put us into a mini ice age before we turn into Tatooine.
Yeah, so the guy's just a literal climate change denier. Snow reflecting light will give us a mini ice age before we turn into Tatooine. I mean, again, no. The facts of the matter are pretty clear. The global temperature of the planet is rising very, very quickly relative to previous fluctuations in the Earth's temperature. Wasn't this guy pro-climate change activism? What a fucking moron, dude. Jesus Christ. The polls in New Hampshire have officially closed, but let's finish this video before we go over that, huh?
I don't believe in the anthropic climate change boogeyman.
The climate movement is overwhelmingly white, so I walked away. Literally exact words in the article. Come on, Vosh. Go ahead and read the article, my friend. None of her actual complaints were about the fact that white people were involved in the movement, or even how many white people were involved in the movement, but rather about the whiteness of the attitudes in the movement. The lack of anti-colonialism, the lack of anti-racism. The fact that the movement, when focusing exclusively in the interests of broader hegemonic whiteness, couldn't meaningfully tackle climate change. Go ahead, you can read the article. I mean, I'm not hiding it from you.
And as it is normally presented. Climate change is real, and man probably has something to do with parts of it. I don't know that we have the main responsibility, and I also don't know that it's a bad thing.
I mean, we're going to be dealing with hundreds of thousands and then millions of climate refugees in the coming decades. Increasing natural disaster rates, increased severity of hurricanes and typhoons, devastating consequences to our infrastructure. I mean, again, like I said, Styxhexenhammer is really, really stupid. So,
rather be in a warm period than an ice age. So,
we don't. The fuck does that here? Here. We get a historical rate. Here we go. This is good. This is over the past 1,000 years. I've showed this on stream before. So the planet does enter cycles of warming and cooling due to a wide variety of incredibly complicated planetary factors. They usually fluctuate incredibly slowly, periods of thousands or even tens of thousands of years, leading to increases in or decreases 1-2 degrees. Whereas over the past century, we have skyrocketed up over 1.5 degrees in a way that is completely out of line with all known projections of historical climate change numbers. So yeah, this is a very, very bad thing. For a planet to be in temperature equilibrium for a very long time, and then for all of the scientists in the world to point at a graph and saying, hey, hey, we're fucking out of lockstep here. We are skyrocketing up, and it's going to have immediate consequences for our planet. And then for people like Styxhexenhammer to go, well, I don't actually know if it's a bad thing. It's cool. I mean, I care about people.
The world will go on. If we wipe ourselves out, that's okay. It doesn't really matter to me. I suppose that
I guess that answers that.
makes me bitter or black-pilled or nihilistic. I don't fucking give a damn.
What a big brain intellectual, my dude. Oh, I love him. Well, the scientists, they just care about the money, man. They just care. There's just big money in it. Anyway, would global warming is even happening? I guess. Like, are people doing it? I don't know. Maybe. Is it even a bad thing? I don't know. I mean, I don't really care though. Is it bad that I don't care? I don't know. Guess I'm black-pilled. What a loser, dude. God, it'd be so embarrassing to be somebody like that. I am so fucking glad. I don't know if there's like an organ in my head that like the introspection organ that keeps me from being that fucking embarrassing, but I'm happy, you know. It makes me, I'm very proud, and I'm very thankful for it. I think that's about all we're going to get out of this guy. Anyway, yeah, the initial article that he was talking about just isn't supported. I know that none of his video was about the actual article, but you can go over the article if you want. Why the fuck did he even make this video if he doesn't give a shit? Because he wanted to spend 10 more minutes vaguely tying it to some perceived idea of progressive hypocrisy that he can still in his audience, even though it's completely unrelated to what we're broadly talking about. It's funny, on the Twitter, on the Twitter post for the Vice article that we were looking at here, he actually responded to it. See, he said, ha ha ha. Now, that is the kind of Joker-like edgy nihilism that you can only get from Styxhexenhammer666. That high IQ, disaffected, you know, ha, you think the world's melting, huh? Well, I don't even care. Maybe I'm just a little more twisted than you are. That's my Styxhexenhammer impression. I bet he fucking loved the Joker. I'm damaged. She's got like the tattoo, you know? That's the thing about society. All you need is a little push. Yeah, okay. All right, okay, sorry. I hate Styxhexenhammer. He really is a pathetic person. And he's so popular, too. Welcome to my twisted ankle. You love the Joker voice too much? Well, listen, can I have my fun? Wouldn't that be cool if I could have my fun?